So I want you guys to watch our Shackle grenade in the bottom left and just see how fast we can get this thing back. It's no joke that we can throw one every 3 seconds or so if we wanted to, and when I finish off the last champion or enemies, we always have a full 2 charges available to start the next fight with. The gameplay you're watching is from the Moon Battleground Grandmaster, and I think this is probably the hardest opening of a Grandmaster that we have in the game. It has a ton of red bar enemies with yellow barred knights and wizards mixed in. Then we also have a ton of barrier champions and even the mini boss of an ogre and the giant knight at the end with the unstoppable champion. Well, as you can see, we can solo this pretty easily thanks to the Strand Hunter build and how everything works together so well, and it feeds our Shackle grenades to where we always have this crowd control available to us. So once you understand how to use this properly and how this build works and try it for yourself, you will probably never take it off anytime soon in difficult content on a Strand Hunter. Now, speaking of awesome builds for you all, I have partnered with Apex Gaming PCs to bring you all my personal line of PCs that I think you will really enjoy. With the holiday season fast approaching, this is the perfect time to take a look at PCs, and you can also finance these bad boys as well, which means you don't have to pay all at once. We have 3 different tiers of PCs to make sure you all get exactly what you're looking for to fit your style and budget. These 3 different models are the Crew, the First Mate, and the Captain. All you have to do is click the link at the top of the description or in the pinned comment down below, and you can use my code, which is Plunder, at checkout, and you can get 15% off your next purchase. I know it only says 5%, but we got an awesome deal for my community, and it's 15% off for your PC. If you guys are looking for a new PC, then make sure to check out my line over at Apex Gaming PCs. I know you will like them. This entire build is built around the damage output you do that's going to fuel your 2 Shackle grenades, and then your 2 Shackle grenades that are going to fuel everything else for the build. So they both go hand in hand. So first off, your grenade is going to be that Shackle grenade, and we're going to get 2 of these thanks to the Widow Silk aspect that we gain an additional grenade charge with. So now we have 2 Shackle grenades, and this is going to proc our exotic that we're going to be using, and then our exotic and a couple other things are going to feed back into these Shackle grenades. Our second aspect is Whirling Maelstrom. This is when you destroy that Tingle, it creates that Whirling Maelstrom on the ground, that tornado that flies around, kills everything, does great damage overall, even to high health targets and Grandmasters like you see on the screen. And when it does defeat like a red bar enemy and a Grandmaster, which you see it doing quite often, it will emit that unraveling projectiles to everything. So essentially think of this Whirling Maelstrom as just added damage, but it's also going to be proccing our Threat of Generation as our fragment. But it's going to proc this in 2 separate ways. It's proccing just the damage from the Maelstrom on like a champion or whatever it's hitting. So you're proccing Threat of Generation one way just by that damage. And then the second way is all the unraveling projectiles that will keep going off across the entire battlefield from the Maelstrom damaging enemies that have the Unravel debuff and your weapon from damaging enemies that have the Unravel debuff. So this is providing 2 separate sources of damage to proc Threat of Generation for us. And speaking of Threat of Generation, just if you guys don't know, this is a fragment and it's dealing damage generates grenade energy. This did take like a 20% nerf at the beginning of this season, but if you can output overall damage across the board, then this just procs so fast on our Shackle grenades with those 2 charges, and that's how you see us getting infinite Shackle grenades. So for our other fragments on the build, this build is about sitting back and just laying down on the trigger. You don't have to be in the thick of things like a lot of my builds. It's a very easy build to perform and use, and so the other fragments just extend what we're doing from a ways back. We already went over Threat of Generation. We're going to take Threat of Continuity. This just means our Suspend from our Shackle grenade, our Unravel from our Whirling Maelstroms, and our Sever effects that is going to be applied through our melee ability and through our weapon has increased duration. Next we take Threat of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapons for you and grants bonus airborne effectiveness and handling for a short duration. Handling is also just your overall reload speed and how you swap weapons, but this is how we don't have to reload very often as you see in the gameplay because our Shackle grenade is proccing this and reloading our weapons for us, but then it's also giving us that boost in handling to if we do need to reload, we can reload really fast without a barrier even generating his health back because we reload so fast to pop his barrier with our assault rifle. And then our last fragment is Threat of Isolation. Landing rapid precision hits emits a severing burst from the target. You could trade this out for Threat of Warding, so when you pick up an Orb of Power you get Woven Mail. And easier content when I'm closer to enemies and I can guarantee myself picking up an Orb of Power, then I would take Threat of Warding here for Woven Mail for that, 50% damage reduction, right? But in harder content like this Grandmaster, especially solo, I can't get close enough to even get that orb. So I dropped this and went for something like Sever, because that means shooting those champions or high health targets that I've suspended down there means that when they do come out of their suspension, they're going to do way less damage to me. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure this is up to 40% damage reduction that they're outputting onto you. And you're going to be activating this a lot because it's just a few precision hits, and it's easy to hit those precision hits when you have everything suspended. And then we also have our Threaded Spike melee that you throw out, it bounces between targets, but this also severs anything that it bounces between and hits. So 2 separate ways to sever things. And then your dodge is going to be Gambler's Dodge, so when you dodge near an enemy, you'll get that melee back. So far for Threat of Generation, we do have the Whirling Maelstrom that's proccing our damage in 2 separate ways. It's the damage from the Maelstrom by itself and the damage from all the Unravel projectiles. While the Shackle Grenade is going to feed the 3rd damage source, and that's going to be Foe Tracer. Damaging a powerful combatant with an ability grants you a temporary bonus to weapon damage matching your subclass type. This is a 25% weapon damage boost to any strand weapons that you're using. In the gameplay I was using Quicksilver Storm, you can use any strand weapons you like. But the point of this is you're throwing out so many Shackle Grenades on high health targets or champions that you're going to have Foe Tracer procced all the time. This just means your weapon hits 25% harder, so the outgoing damage from Quicksilver Storm is now really, really good. So you have your 3rd source of Quicksilver Storm damage, including the 2 sources from Maelstrom. That's how you can see we get those grenades back so fast over and over. Now there are a few other mods on the build that I want to go over that help feed all of this, and really it's just on your arms. You're going to take Grenade Kickstart. Even though we're not collecting too many orbs of power and getting a bunch of armor charges, it still is going to give you 15 to 20% of your grenade back just when you throw a grenade, and it works on both your charges, which means when you throw 2 Shackle Grenades, you're getting about 40% of your grenade back already. So you might as well have that on there. It's just extra grenade energy. And then we take Impact Induction. Causing damage with a melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. So our Threaded Spectre can give us our grenade back as well, and you can dodge near an enemy to get that melee back. And then we're also going to take Momentum Transfer. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. So our melee reduces our grenade, and our grenade reduces our melee. And you have a ton of grenades as it is, so you can easily get your melee back just by sitting back and throwing those Shackle Grenades. On the helmet, it's just 2 Harmonic Siphons where you generate orbs of power for those double kills with your strand weapon, and then a heavy ammo finder. On your chest piece, this is all damage reduction, so any damage reduction that you're doing for whatever activity. Your boots is going to feed just ability energy with orbs of power, so this is better in easier content, not so much in Grandmaster content, but in easier content you'll be picking up a lot more orbs. So you have Absolution that feeds all your abilities when you pick up an orb of power, Innervation that feeds your grenade when you pick up an orb of power, and then we also throw on Recuperation, replenish health each time you pick up an orb of power. This is just a chunk of health instantly when you grab that orb of power. On your class item, we are going to take Reaper, so every time we dodge, our next weapon kill spawns an orb of power. Outreach, so we get melee energy when we dodge, and Bomber, so we get grenade energy when we dodge. But we're honestly not even dodging that much. The overall build and gameplay is just so simple with this build, and that's why I like it. It's sit back, it's chuck out your Shackle Grenades, kill 1 red bar enemy and spawn that Tangle, shoot that Tangle to activate the Whirling Maelstrom, let Whirling Maelstrom do its damage and do its Unravel damage to everything, and then let it proc Foe Tracer, and just use your weapon for that 25% damage boost to help kill everything that you've suspended. It's literally sit back, shoot your weapon, and throw the grenades as often as possible. As soon as you see the Tangle, shoot the Tangle. It's pretty straightforward and simple. For your stats on the build, always 100 Resilience is what you want to hit on any build you're doing. Everything else after that doesn't matter as much because you have so much stuff feeding ability energy with every build that I create that it doesn't matter if you can get 100 discipline or 70 discipline, right? But 100 resilience is what you want to hit. On this particular Strand Hunter, I would try to hit 100 discipline next, and then push your mobility up as high as possible for your dodge. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you give it a try because it is a true suspend build, and it's still just as strong as it was because we can have infinite grenades and proc that Whirling Maelstrom over and over. I'll see you guys all in the next video, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.